And you were in court today for today's treason trial of the 11 End Bad Governance protesters. Tell us what happened.
As it is typical of the Nigerian police, the prosecutors in this case, they came to court asking for an adjournment, claiming that the police officer who started the prosecution, Samuel Law, SAN, has been retired, which is false. He wasn't retired. He was dismissed from the police force for uttering his age. So in the first place, the originator of the charges is also going to be facing charges in the next 1 week or so for uttering his age. So that tells you the foundation of these charges and the kind of characters behind this very malicious charge against our patriots.
Well, what I'm trying to understand is that, because I know that charges of treason against a larger group of about 150 protesters were dismissed in November last year after the Attorney General withdrew the charges. I mean, why are these remaining 11 still being tried?
Well, those ones were minors, lightly.
Right.
And because of the embarrassment involved in,
Right.
In that, they quickly discontinued those charges. But for these ones, they want to continue to use them to discourage others who might get involved in peaceful protests in the future. That's what happened.
Right.
And it's so sad that the police prosecutor said he couldn't really prepare for today's trial because the police officer who originated it probably went away with the file.
So when do they adjourn it till?
It's adjourned till October, which is time wasting.
That is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous that you have been on these charges since last year. They didn't even have witnesses. They couldn't provide any strand of evidence to show that these guys committed any of these crimes that they have been persecuted for. It was shameful in court today.
You talked about deterrence.
Hi guys, you'll be listening to Sowore on the Arise television station, where he has been exposing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his government about not allowing Nigerians to go on the street to express their feelings. You know that Nigerians, they are faced with insecurity, suffering and poverty, but the Nigerian government has succeeded about not allowing Nigerians to express their feelings. This is a shame, but Sowore said a whole lot about
That's
this.
more than they're afraid of guns, because they have the capacity to respond to people who are shooting at the government. But they have no capacity, they have no ability, and they have no strategy to stop a majority. People in their large numbers carrying placards are more dangerous than people in their large numbers carrying guns.
Because they have essentially
the
law on their side.
They have law on their side, they have international support on their side, they have morality on their side, they have conscience on their side. And nobody can defeat those things at once.
But they still attack them, though.
Well, they can attack as much as they want, but they can't stop this kind of ideas.
Right.
Yes.
And I was going to say that in spite of that threat from law enforcement agencies who try to quell these protests with something like, I mean, they quell them regularly and with something like chilling precision. I mean, you keep returning to the streets and clenching your fist in a demonstration of defiance, even with all the risks. Why is that?
Well, it is to understand why we have this commitment. For a lot of people who don't understand philosophically why we fight for justice, they might think you're putting yourself in harm's way. For me, I'm making a sacrifice. I'm using my body, I'm using my conviction to stop what is evil in my society. And that sacrifice is way more important, it's more impactful than what could come to me in terms of harm. And it comes out of conviction, it comes out of clarity, you know. Most of it also very intellectual, because you have to understand what you're fighting for and what the struggle is about, and you know, in what situation and context you're fighting. So, and they understand that. That is why they keep doing what they do to me. You know.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, your conviction must be absolutely rock solid, because, I mean, you've had years of arrests, rearrests, detentions, and so on.
I can't count, but that is, we're not yet at the point where we should.
Somebody said that they think you might actually enjoy this, this catch.
Well, now, our message to Nigerians is that come 2027 presidential election, do not sell your birthright for 5,000. If you do, you will suffer for 1 billion, because you are going to continue in these situations of scarcity, suffering, and poverty. And by that time, it will be too late for you to cry out, because the government will not allow you to cry out.